Welcome to the Grand Valley State Sports Report. I'm your host, Brent Ashcroft from WZZM TV 13. The baseball team took 3 out of 4 from Hillsdale this weekend. Head coach Jamie Detillion will be here to review his team's performance. Track and field coach Jerry Baltus will be in studio to preview his team's postseason run. The women's golf team won their 8th straight GLIAC title. Tom Cleary will take a look at both the men and women's golf teams, and we will feature dynamic leadoff hitter Mike Nadrotowski. All this and more as the Grand Valley State Sports Report starts right now. The Lakers scored 11 runs in both ends of the doubleheader on Saturday at Hillsdale. In the first game, 11 runs were more than Pat Kelly needed to earn his 6th win against 1 loss as he held the Chargers to 3 tallies in a complete game victory. But Game 2's 11 runs were just enough for the Lakers to pull out the victory. Chargers got a run on the board in each of the first 3 innings. Starter Zach Anderson was able to pitch out of further trouble and got help from the offense in the 4th. Kevin Zach broke the GLIAC hit record in the inning with a shot up the middle. Jamie Potts followed with a double to score Jesse Abel. Zach came across on Aaron Overbeck's sac fly. Potts tied the game up when Hillsdale went for Rebecca's steal attempt and couldn't handle the short hop throw. Josh Crime Dog Griffith then put the Lakers in the lead 5-3 with a 2-run homer to left center. But Hillsdale scored on a triple in the bottom of the inning and then had a 3-run 5th to retake the lead 7-5. In the 7th, the Lakers captured the lead with 3 runs capped off by Jamie Potts' single up the middle to drive in Zach. It looked like the Lakers put away the game with 2 more runs in the 8th as Mike Nadrotowski knocked in Josh Griffith. Then Jesse Abel knocked Nadrotowski in with a hit up the middle. But with 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th, Hillsdale put together a rally. A throw to the plate to cut down the first run got away from Glick. Matt Williams backed it up, but threw wild to third, tying the game. A diving catch on a bunt attempt by Aaron Overbeck prevented any further damage. Potts, whose average is hovering around 400, led off the 9th with his 6th hit of the day. He was sacrificed to second by Overbeck and scored on Jason Rebecca's hit to right center. Jamie made a great catch in deep right by the bottom of the 9th as Matt Williams was able to shut the door for his 3rd win of the season. Lakers took 3 out of 4 in Hillsdale after splitting Sunday's doubleheader. Joining us now to review the week is head coach Jamie Detillion. Let's talk about Saturday. Your team putting up runs in bunches again. Back-to-back games, 11 runs. Talk about that.
Well, we came off of exam week, so coming off of exam week, it's always, kind of a mystery what's going to happen for the weekend. But really came out swinging it, which is what we needed to put up those kind of runs on the road. Put up those kind of runs on the road is huge to get us going. We needed the pitching performances to match that, and we got one. And Pat Kelly, he was outstanding for the most part, and then we battled out and scrapped out a win in Game 2.
Yeah, talk about Game 2, back and forth game. The first one was a blowout win. Second one you score 11, but you're tied 10-10 in the 9th, and you had to manufacture a run to win that game.
Now, to Hillsdale's credit, they've typically been at bottom of the barrel in the conference, and they're a much improved team. They're still down in the standings. However, they are a very competitive team. They swing the bats a lot better. So they gave us all we could handle, and it was a back and forth game. Didn't quite get it done in some situations. However, we still battled and hung in there enough to get a win at the end.
Kevin Zach, great weekend for him, put himself atop the Grand Valley record books in 2 separate categories. He's now the all-time leader in hits. He also owns the school record for most career starts. Just discuss a little bit about his career and why was he able to get his name in those record books the way he did.
Sure. Well, 2 years in a row we've had this kind of stuff going on. Last year Brugnoni with the home runs, and then this year with Kevin Zach. It's always exciting to see a player that you recruited go out and do that kind of damage in the conference. It's really cool to see how he's developed over time. But it all ties back into his work ethic. I mean, he's an extremely hard-working kid. He's talented to begin with, but when you tie that whole package together and just carrying himself to a degree like a professional every day, there's no highs and lows. There's just a good even keel mentality about him, and he just goes about his business the right way, and he gets it done, and I'm very happy for him to get the results that he has.
You mentioned Pat Kelly a bit earlier here, and you and I have discussed him a lot throughout the season, but he's so gosh darn consistent. You're a former pitcher. What is it about him that is making him so good this year?
Well, he's always been a competitive kid by nature. That's first and foremost what makes him succeed. But just his ability to repeat strikes. I mean, he's always in the strike zone. If you look at his walks are always down compared to the innings pitched. Not a big strikeout guy, but enough. He's developed his curveball quite a bit more this year, which has helped his strikeout statistics a little bit. But just his ability to throw strikes. And he works down in the strike zone too. So his ground balls, the percentage of ground balls versus fly balls are way up, which typically means he's working down in the strike zone. So that's one of the things that he's really developed and gotten better with. So and that's a big part of his success right now, is he's able to consistently repeat that down in the zone.
Senior leadership is so important in all sports, in high school, college, whatever. You're getting such great production right now out of your seniors, especially in terms of batting average. Nadrotowski, 340, Abel, a solid two-hitter in your lineup. Zach, 391, Potts almost hitting 400. I mean, how much are those guys really steering the boat for you right now?
Well, a very good chunk of it is based on their production. So, they've been extremely consistent for the last few years, and again, moving forward the next couple of 3 weeks, 4 weeks, hopefully, hopefully they continue to do that. But just how they go about their business, again, good batting practice, good off days in terms of preparation for our games. They're very good leaders in that sense. So that ties right into the results that they're getting on the field.
Final week of the regular season, Lewis tomorrow on the road, so you're going to Illinois for that, and then Malone for 2 doubleheaders this weekend. Just discuss as you wrap things up this week as the GLIAC North champs.
Well, it's nice to win our division now. This is the first year that we've split into 2 divisions, so it's exciting to win our division the first time around. There's also the overall conference standings, which would indicate who gets what seed for the conference tournament. So obviously we're looking to finish strong so that we can get the #1 seed. That's our next goal, and then it's just goal after goal from there on out. Win the conference outright, win the conference tournament, get into the regional, do well and win the regional, and hopefully beyond that too. So right now it's just one step at a time, but first and foremost, we got to take care of business against Lewis and then move forward this weekend.
All right, Jamie, good luck in your final games this week.
Thank you.
You bet. We'll be back to look at the outdoor track and field season with head coach Jerry Baltus right after this. Laker track and field teams are finally going to be all together for the first time this outdoor season as they participate in the GLIAC Finals this week in Hillsdale. Joining us for an update on his team is head coach Jerry Baltus. Talk about the approach to this outdoor season, because you've had student athletes in North Carolina, you've had them in California. I mean, they're all over the place. It's like a parent not knowing where his kids are, right?
Yeah, it's it's as a head coach, it's not the best scenario you want to go through, but it's the game we got to play to really chase weather and chase competition. You try to put your student athletes in the best situation to compete to the best of their ability at the highest level and hopefully gain access to the NCAA championships. And of course, each event group's a little different. Distance runners want 50 to 60 degrees, no wind. Sprinters want it to be 70 to 80 degrees with the tailwind, much the same as the vaulters and the jumpers. So you sort of got to pick and choose and figure out where the best scenario is for each event group, and then figure out a way to make that happen.
Okay, we have some highlights here of the Al Owens Classic from a couple of weekends ago.
Yeah, 2 weekends ago.
What do you see here?
we were at home here, and Luke Vasilin opened up in the 100 meters and had a great preliminary run there, and then came back in the final, looked real good. Deja Avery doing a great job, making some steady progress. Our vaulters are doing great as always. Our women are ranked number 2, actually tied for 2, 7th and 11th in the country right now, so they're looking very, very strong. So you can sort of see with the weather, we had a beautiful day 2 weeks ago, 70-degree temps. Actually walking around the facility, people were complaining it was too warm. So it's a good problem. Usually, as this past weekend when we were in Hillsdale and we had a crew out in the Drake Relays, it was in the 40s. So it was good to have this great temperatures at home. Here you see Peter Tomkevich winning the 5,000 meters, a huge breakthrough for him. Really starting to come around. We'll toe the line at the GLIAC Championships this weekend down at Hillsdale.
Your pole vault team has always gotten you a lot of points over the years. Even after graduating All-American Kristen Hickson, you still have a tremendous amount of talent there, don't you?
Yeah, Coach Lou does an outstanding job of reloading and continuing to add depth and teaching. So, you know, that's never in question. We'll always be strong in that event group. So you just saw the 4x1 and Brittany Bannister bringing the stick home. Had a little messy exchange there. But Jessie gets the baton and takes it home for the win 2 weeks ago at the Al Owens Classic. And you know, that was the first time we put our 4x1 out there because we have had some injuries. So here you see a couple of our, one of our alums, Hannah Osborne, winning the 1500, just graduated this past weekend. Here's a highlight probably of the season so far. Sean Wells, PR coming into this was 1398, and he ran 1377, breaking his school record and the best time in the country currently.
You know, Laura Schroeder also having another great year, hitting an automatic qualifier in the hammer throw this week.
Yeah, she's been really, really consistent. You know, coming into the year, her PR was, I believe, 58 meters, and she's thrown between 58 and 59.98, I believe her season best is, probably 15 to 20 times, so that bodes well. You know, it's one thing to hit a big mark once, but when you do it continually, that bodes well to the postseason, to the championship season. So.
You know, just like the indoor season, GLIAC has proven to be one of the toughest conferences in the entire country. You got Ashland and Findlay rated in the top 6 on the men's side. You got Ashland and Hillsdale in top 10 on the women's side, right?
Yeah, it's you know, in the national rankings, it is ranked the toughest conference in the country, and as we showed indoors, multiple teams in the top 5 and top 10. So it's not going to be easy this weekend as we head down to Hillsdale for the outdoor championships. We're going to have to bring our A game and be ready to compete.
All right, thanks, Jerry. We'll be back with a look at the men and women's golf teams right after this.
The softball team has turned it around this week with 4 straight wins. At Findlay on Friday, they won a couple of close games. In Game 1, they came from behind by scoring all their runs with 2 outs in the top of the 7th for a 5-3 victory. In the nightcap, they hung on a 3-2 win behind a 5-hitter by freshman pitcher Courtney Reinhold. At Hillsdale, the Lakers mercied the Chargers in Game 1, 9-1. Heather Speranza was 3 for 3 with 3 RBIs. Some fine defense helped Courtney Reinhold win her 13th game. The Lakers will compete in the GLIAC tournament in Findlay this weekend. The lacrosse team won its final regular season game on the road against Lake Erie. They beat the Storm 21-5. Erica Newman, Victoria Devine, and Rachel Leibovitz all scored 4 goals in the contest. The GLIAC lacrosse tournament will be held in Allendale this week. Go to gvsulakers.com for a complete schedule. The men's tennis team lost to Northwood, then came back to beat Wayne State for a 3rd place finish in the GLIAC tournament. Francis Bertrand and Zach Phillips were named the All-GLIAC first team, while Brian Hodges was named All-GLIAC honorable mention. Bertrand held a 23-7 overall record during the 2014-15 season and a record of 7-2 against GLIAC opponents, while Phillips recorded a 13-13 overall record with a 7-2 record in the conference. The Sports Report will continue until May 11th, and we will have a special year in a review episode on June 8th. You can catch all the episodes on the web at youtube.com/WGVU35 or wgvu.org/GVSports. Like us on Facebook at the Grand Valley State Sports Report. For your Laker Minute, I'm Alexandria Tucker.
The women's golf team won its 8th consecutive GLIAC title in Findlay over the weekend. Junior Gabrielle Shipley became the 6th different Laker to win a championship and was named GLIAC Women's Golf Athlete of the Year. Senior Kelly Hardigan, a 2-time GLIAC champion, finished 3rd. Tom Cleary has this feature on the men and women's golf team who are preparing for NCAA action.
Last week's appearance at the GLIAC Championship in Findlay, Ohio, was the first step in what the Laker women's golf team hopes will lead to something special in May on its home course. Now it's on to Chicago's famous Cog Hill facility and an NCAA Super Regional appearance, followed, perhaps, by a berth in the NCAA Division II Finals at Grand Valley's home course, the Meadows, beginning May 13th.
Yeah, you know, we don't talk about postseason a whole lot, and obviously, you know, being here hosting the national championship, we all know they want to be here. Certainly, we don't want to host and not be competing. So we focus on the day-to-day, and I try to keep them on task with that as much as possible. Focus on getting better every week, every day, and then putting yourself in the best position you possibly could be at that time.
I wouldn't say the Meadows is an easy course to just get around. So we definitely are challenged out here at our home course usually. I never remember coming out here and just being easy. There's always either wind or there's something that's kind of you battling throughout the round. And so I really think that the course, doesn't matter if it's really hard or easy, I think we'll go at it just with an open mind no matter what we are given and play how we know we can play.
While the Lakers have had plenty of standout performances over the years, theirs is a sport where today's magic can be followed by tomorrow's misery. Despite 1-2 finishes by Gabrielle Shipley and Julie Gukian, Grand Valley recently finished 2nd in Ohio at the Cavalier Invitational, where 3 other players, including senior Kelly Hardigan, could only average 82 for their 6 rounds. At the Super Regional and the NCAA Championship, Grand Valley will likely need better.
I definitely feel like we're in good position. It'll be nice being done with school and just focusing on golf for the next couple weeks. We've had some success this season so far, and I think everyone's in a good position to play well.
While the experience of being an All-America choice last year is something that should help Kelly Hardigan bounce back, the Lakers still need to develop depth in the second half of their lineup. Division I transfer Danielle Crilly and sophomore Alex Taylor offer plenty of promise, as does freshman Samantha Moss, who competed as an individual in Ohio and had a closing 76 for a tie for 3rd individually.
We can pretty much count on Shipley and Hardigan to be 1 and 2, but really any of them could be, you know, the 1, 2, 3, or 4 at any given time, which is kind of nice. So obviously the key is getting them all to be in that one spot at one point. So.
Something special about our team is we're kind of a close-knit family, and that's an aspect that really brought me to come to Grand Valley. And I think that since we're such a small team, it kind of helps with the family. So we're not like separated into 2 different groups, kind of like what other big teams can be. So with a smaller team, we can be more close-knit, and I really think that that helps us in the long run, because we might see what someone may need a little help in. If that's like a strength in our game, we can help them out, and so we kind of can all feed off each other, and that really, really helps us.
Yeah, definitely coming here, it's like my second family away from home, and I'm not only playing for myself, but I'm playing for my coach, my teammates, my family. It's definitely a different atmosphere, and it only helps you to improve.
While the men's campaign won't culminate with a national title appearance at the Meadows this year, each week things seem to improve for first-year coach Gary Bissell. His squad has had all top 5 finishes and a tournament win in calendar 2015 and get their own shot at Cog Hill at the Super Regional there starting May 5th. The Lakers were 3rd most recently at the GLIAC South Invitational in Ohio, where veteran Jack Ryder's 148 2-round total earned him a tie for 3rd individually.
A lot of our focus this year has been strengthening our weaknesses on the course, which makes practice a little frustrating at times, and actually tournaments have shown a little bit of slower progress, I think is what I would say. But where we are now compared to where we were in the fall as a team is leaps and bounds better. I think everybody feels pretty confident going into this regional.
Jack's had a couple really good comeback rounds this year where he struggled early and finished strong, which we need more guys like that. We struggled in the fall, kind of the back end of our lineup, and Chris Beltzer's really stepped up and helped us in that regard this spring as well. So he's been ultra consistent and that's kind of why I think we've been able to be the most consistent team in the GLIAC and the region, is getting good play throughout our lineup, not just having a couple guys.
We have a really confident group. We all get along. We keep each other up when we get down. Just staying positive for the most part. You know, we're gonna have bad shots, and you can't think about that over your next swing, and you just got to rebound.
Bissell's team has plenty of star potential with freshman Dominic Mancinelli and juniors Chris Belzer and Tyler Polalik, but consistency has sometimes been an issue. Mancinelli followed an opening 80 with a 68 in the Lakers win in Columbus, Indiana in March, and in other instances, there's been a big variance in scores from many players from one round to the next.
I think the idea now is that we're going to prep as hard as we can, and I think these guys know right now the goal is to get as much preparation as you can, because that's supposed to be the hard part. Actually getting there and playing golf should be a little more relaxed, and that stuff should just happen if you prepare the way that you should.
The focus of consistency and not being able to win a tournament in the first round has been a huge focus for this team this year. Like you said, you can't win a tournament in the first round, but you can definitely lose it, and that's been something Coach Bissell's put in our heads every single tournament repeatedly. So it's another one of those things this team's adapting to. It's taken a little more time than we anticipated it taking, but we're getting there. We're right on the doorstep of finally being able to comprehend that and apply it out on the course.
While the women are hoping their journey to Chicago and Cog Hill will result in a hero's return to the NCAA Finals in Allendale, the stakes are a little different for the men. If they can qualify for the D2 Finals, instead of spending a week back at Grand Valley after the finish of the school year, they'll be rewarded with a trip to Conover, North Carolina, which should be tropical compared to some of the Midwest golf spots they've visited this spring. For the Grand Valley State Sports Report, I'm Tom Cleary.
A huge reason the Laker baseball team has been so successful the past 4 years is center fielder Mike Nadrotowski. Tom Cleary has a profile on one of the top leadoff hitters in Laker history.
For the last few years, Grand Valley Baseball's had plenty of guys who could rattle fences with long balls. But power hitters need base runners to optimize their production. And for the last several seasons, Laker center fielder Mike Nadrotowski has become a key component of that equation. The senior from Plymouth has bounced back from an early season slump in 2014 to hit .321 with 9 multi-hit games through mid-April, showing the form that's made him a 4-year regular and the GLIAC's 2012 Rookie of the Year.
I think the key for me this year has just been stay confident in myself and keep a positive attitude every day. It's something I've really been working on throughout my 4 years here, and I think this year I've done a pretty good job of that so far.
Yeah, he's definitely gotten better from last year. His career as a freshman, he didn't quite strike the ball as hard, but he was very productive, in terms of walks and keeping the ball on the left side of the field and using his speed. And as he's gotten bigger and stronger, it's turned his game around a little bit, and we're trying to keep him in the right frame of mind to keep the ball on the left side and utilize his speed a little bit. Flyouts have gone up a little bit, but any time that he goes, he's such a dynamic player. He's the type of spark plug that gets the whole offense going.
For a while last spring, it looked like Nadrotowski was a little too intent on trying to hit balls into areas previously reserved for players like Jamie Potts, Kevin Zach, and Giancarlo Brugnoni, the hitters who followed him in the Laker lineup. His batting average and on-base percentage suffered until he had a few talks with Coach Jamie Detillion about the nature of his role.
Yeah, I think the conversation was more of just being the best leadoff hitter I could be and not the best hitter. I know there's times, especially after my freshman or sophomore year, where I tried to do too much and kind of went out of, what I could really do well. And so I had a lot of struggles last year, to be honest. And I went into the summer and tried to just clear my head and go back to what I did best. And I feel like that worked out for me, and I tried to carry it over here as best I could for my senior year.
By season's end, Nadrotowski's average climbed back to a respectable .281, thanks in part to his willingness to ease off the throttle a bit and to think of himself more as the table setter of Grand Valley's attack. As a result of that this year, he's looking more and more like the player who hit .337 as a sophomore and helped Grand Valley make it to the Division II baseball finals, something the Lakers are pointing to again.
My sophomore year was the closest I've ever gotten, being in the national semifinal. We've won conference all 3 years I've been here, so yes, that's a goal of ours and it's great, but bigger picture, you want to make it farther than that. And I think we have it with our mentality, we have a lot of guys who've been here 4 or 5 years that know, how to win and what it takes, and just do the job the best you can, your specific job, and I think if we just stick to that, then we can go a long way.
Nadrotowski into center field. It's down for a base hit. Grand Valley will score 2. They'll hold the runner at third, and Nadro has tied the game.
Well, no doubt, anytime there's speed on the bases, it presents an element of pressure on the defense. They just feel like they have to react quicker, and they're forced to do some things they aren't comfortable with at times. And anytime you get a dynamic player like Mike on base, then there's a lot of things that we can do offensively. In addition to forcing the pitcher to rush to the plate a little bit, sometimes that induces balls, just leaving balls up in the strike zone or out of the strike zone, and encouraging our 2-hitter to walk. So with his element of speed, it does change the game when he's on base, and our whole process with him is getting him on base more frequently so that we can have those opportunities.
Throughout his time at Grand Valley, Mike Nadrotowski has been arguably the team's fastest runner, something that makes him valuable on the bases and in the outfield. He was a Midwest Region Gold Glove recipient in 2014 and has a good view this year of Grand Valley's steadily improving pitching staff.
Our staff has been great. Pat, like you mentioned, he's a bulldog. He's one of the most confident kids I know and doesn't back down from anybody, so I don't think confidence was an issue. He has his struggles, but everybody does, and he's doing great this year. And same thing with guys like Jensen, and our bullpen has stepped it up recently, who they were actually struggling in the beginning, but they've picked it up and realized their roles, and I think they're starting to get ahead of hitters earlier in counts now that conference is underway. And as they do that, the defense stays into the game easier, and games go quicker, and everyone's into it, and that's what we need.
Last year, Mike Nadrotowski made it through the entire season without committing an error in the field, and he followed that up this spring by handling his first 72 chances without a miscue. But the perfect finish he's thinking about now is one in which his team grabs a 4th consecutive league crown and just maybe gives Mike the opportunity to make a sure-handed catch of a national championship trophy before the season ends in late May. For the Grand Valley State Sports Report, I'm Tom Keeler.
The Grand Valley State Sports Report will have 2 more regular season episodes as we highlight postseason play for all of the spring sports. We will also have a special year in review episode on Monday, June 8th. You can watch all of the episodes online at youtube.com/WGVU35 or WGVU.org/GVSports. The link is posted every week on Facebook, so like us at Grand Valley State Sports Report. For the crew, I'm Brent Ashcroft. Have a nice week, everyone.